In this video, I'll be showing how to place the AC condenser on a Nissan Sentra. It is located behind the bumper. Before you start the shop, go ahead and head down to your local mechanic and have the AC professionally evacuated. We're going to locate our battery. It's located on the driver's side of the engine bay. I'm going to use a 10mm to loosen the negative battery terminal. I'm going to wiggle it and set it aside. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove my engine bay trim. I have two 10mm bolts and some push pin clips. Set these aside. And now for my clips. I'm using a trim tool. You can set these clips aside. Now that my trim panel is off, I'm going to go ahead and locate 4 more push pin clips to remove my grille. I'm going to pull on the edges of the grille. Pull on the bottom until we reach the other side. Now we can set this aside. I'm going to move along to my horn and locate the 2 connectors. I'm going to push these pins down and pull out. Inspect for any damage or corrosion. Do the same for the other one. I'm going to get a trim tool to release the harness from the bracket. Now I'm going to go ahead and locate my impact sensor bracket and remove that with the 10mm. I just set that to the side. I'm going to thread this back on for now. I'm going to move along to my 12mm bolt. Now we can set this aside. Now we can move along to our top bolt, which is a 13mm. I'm going to move along to this plastic trim and remove its push pin clip. Repeat for the other side. Now I'm going to grab a marker and mark along the core support. This is a way of proper alignment during reinstall. I'll do the same for the other side. Now I'm going to remove my 4 12mm core support bolts. There's 2 on each side. Set these aside and repeat the process for the other side. Pull these trim panels back and lift up your core support. Now we're going to locate the passenger side trim panel and remove these harness connectors with some pliers. Squeeze and pull it out. And do the same for the bottom one. I could remove my panel. I'm going to slide this top portion out and pull the bottom side out as well. Simply just pull inward and then you can pull up. We can set this aside. Now I'm going to locate my other trim, pull it back, and reveal the other clip. Now I could undo the harness from the holder, slide it on top, and pull out the trim panel. Set it aside. I'm going to go ahead and locate my two mounting bolts. They are two 10 millimeters. Now that those bolts are off, I'm simply going to slide the condenser up. I'm going to pull the fan shroud back, tilt it forward, and slide it away from the mounting tabs on the radiator. Just lean this forward a bit. Now I'm going to move along to the bottom portion of the condenser and locate my pigtail connector for the refrigerant pressure sensor and the bottom AC line. I'll remove the connector first with some needle nose pliers. And there it is. Inspect for any corrosion or damage. Now for the bottom line, which is a 10 millimeter. Set this aside and pull the line out. Now moving along to the top line, which should be 13 millimeter. Inspect it and set it aside. I'm going to pull the line out, just twist and pull, and set it aside. Now we're going to move along to our two 10 millimeter mounting bolts for the condenser. And you can set these aside. I'm going to lift it from the two mounting tabs. You can push the shroud back to gain more space. And there it is. Now we can take it to the bench. Now to transfer our sensor over, I'll be using a 24 millimeter wrench. I'll just turn it counterclockwise. Now we could spin it free. On your new condenser, you'll find a bolt here. I'll be removing it with an adjustable wrench. Now before you install your new sensor, inspect your gasket, make sure it's intact and it has no tears. And now snug it down with your 24 millimeter wrench. And make sure it's secure. Now before we reinstall our condenser, we're going to want to change our O-ring gaskets for the AC lines. I'm going to clean the area with a rag. And I'm going to use a pick to get the gasket out. I'm going to clean a little bit more to ensure a proper seal. I'm going to slide my new gasket over. And make sure it's properly seated. Now do the same for the top. Give it a nice clean. And use a pick to remove the gasket. Now dispose of it properly. Now cleaning mating surface. You want to get down in the groove. Now install your new gasket. And make sure it's properly seated. Now to install our condenser. There's going to be a tab here. And a tab on the condenser. We're going to slide that in and then push down. So slide the tab in. Align the bottom tabs. Push in. and push down. Make sure it's flush. Now I'm going to reinstall my two 10mm mounting bolts. I'm just going to snug these down. I'm going to take my lower line and lubricate the O-ring. You could use some PAG oil or some silicone. Now we can go ahead and install. Simply just push it in. Install your 10mm bolt. Once it's bottomed out, give it a corner turn. Now make sure it's secure. Now do the same for the top AC line. Lubricate it with some silicone or PAG oil. Now we can push it in and install it. Once it's snug, again give it a quarter turn. Now make sure it's secure. Now let's go ahead and reconnect our sensor connector. Push down until you hear that click. And make sure it's secure. Now we can go ahead and install our core support. There are two rubber grommets on each side. These tabs will go over, so keep that in mind. Make sure the radiator support goes over. Now you can just slide it down. Now grab your bolts and line it up with the markings we made earlier. Snug these down for now. And do the same for the other side. Now do the same for the front bolts. Thread them in by hand and snug them down. Make sure the hood latch cable is out of the way. Now the torque spec for these is 18 foot-pounds. I'm going to start off by hand threading on my 13mm bolt. And then my 12mm bolt. Torque spec for these is also 18 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to go ahead and locate my impact sensor. To install this, there will be a tab that goes in this hole, so keep that in mind. Align the bracket. And install your nut. Now just snug this down. Now I'm going to re-secure a harness. Since our connector broke, I'm going to use a wire tie to secure it. Now just cut off any excess. And we can move on to our horn wires. The brown one goes on top. Make sure you hear that click. And the black one on the bottom. Make sure they're secure. Now we're going to head and reinstall our plastic trim. Maneuver it down there. I'm just going to press in on the corners. And slide it down. Tuck this one behind the bumper. Now before I clip this down, I'm going to go ahead and secure my harness. Push those in until you hear the click. Quick note, on the bottom of this trim panel, there are 2 plastic points that slide into the bumper. So once that's secure, just grab your clip and push it. As you can see, here are the 2 plastic points. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this down. Then tuck my wires behind the trim. Slide this behind the bumper. Now let's go ahead and tuck our harness back. And our connector. Now for the clip. Make sure everything is secure. Now let's install our grill. Just line it up with the tabs and push in on all corners. Make sure the holes are aligned. And then install your 4 push-pin clips. You have 2 on the corners and 2 in the middle. Now for our trim cover, just slide it over and install your push-pin clips. Now for our 2 10mm bolts, 1 on each side. I'm just going to snug these down. Now I'm going to reinstall my terminal on the post. I'm going to slide over the terminal and tighten it down with a 10mm. You want to make sure it goes all the way down. And I'm just going to snug it up. You're going to wiggle it to make sure it's secure. Now that we have the cover back in place and everything all secured, go ahead and take your vehicle out to your local mechanic, have the AC recharged. After that, ensure the AC blows cold. Thank you for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.